The UNC Pembroke men's basketball team snapped a three-game losing streak with a dominating 87-73 road win at Flagler to improve to 11-10 on the season. Junior Alex Bradley tallied a career-high 24 points as the Braves made 9 three-pointers in the game. UNCP is now tied for third in the Peach Belt Conference's East Division. On the women's side, it was a pair of close losses last week as the Braves have now dropped 3 straight games by less than 5 points. Junior Janisha Monley averaged 18 points and 10 rebounds for the Black and Gold in the last 2 games, but the Braves fell to 8-11 overall. UNCP Wrestling competed at the Super Region 2 duels in Hartsville, South Carolina last weekend, where they dropped 4 dual meets, including a pair to top 20 opponents. Stuart Nadeau led the Braves with 2 pins, while Blaze Shade added a pin and a major decision in Saturday's action. Track and field was at the Camel City Invitational in Winston-Salem, where another UNCP school record was shattered. Senior Anya Day set a new record in the weight throw with a toss of 14.16 meters. Indoor track season continues this weekend on the road, while the UNCP baseball and softball teams begin their 2016 campaigns with home contests this weekend. The Black and Gold Report starts now. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Black and Gold Report presented by Pepsi, a show all about UNC Pembroke athletics. I'm Cameron Songer, and this week we get a season update with UNCP wrestling head coach Othello O.T. Johnson. We'll also chat with Rhonda Blank, the head coach of the Braves swimming and diving team, which begins competition in the 2016-17 school year. But first, I'm joined by Braves wrestling head coach O.T. Johnson. Coach, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, Cam.
Let's get fans caught up on the season so far. The Braves are 10-7 overall in dual meets this season, including a 2-0 clip in Eastern College Athletic Conference competition. Give us a progress report on your team as we head into the last full month of the season.
Well, we definitely had a big test this past weekend. Got an opportunity to really see some top opponents in the country and obviously in our region as we get ready for the postseason run we're getting ready to make here. And, we lost a couple of matches that were nail-biters. The first one on Friday night by a point, just simply for, numerous reasons. But bottom line is we lost. And, Saturday came around and we had a chance to compete against some other top opponents again. And, one thing led to another, things didn't go our way. So, great opportunity for the guys to make some improvements and, see what they need to work on. But overall, we just ran into some buzzsaws for this part of the season, and now it gives us a chance as coaching staff to go back and fix some things in hopes of, turning those results around to wins. So our guys did a good job as far as, staying in the matches and doing the things they know how to do and not letting the moment get too big for them. Obviously we would like the results to be in the opposite direction, but they weren't, and we are who we are. That's what our record says. We're 10-7, and, we're going to embrace it and get back to the drawing board today like we have been, and, try to do what we can to get ready for Thursday, because right now that's the only thing that matters is a Thursday match against Coker College, which is a conference match. And like you said, thus far we're 2-0 in the conference, and we're looking to make that 3-0 come Thursday. And until Thursday rolls around, nothing else matters past it, and nothing else is going to matter until then, besides getting our weights under control and fixing some kinks that we have in our wrestling.
Well, you came into the season with a pretty young team, especially at the top half of your lineup. Who are some of the guys that have shown the most improvement this season?
Definitely say Eric Milks. He's done a good job. He's a guy that makes the adjustment every week after each competition. He was able to beat a returning All-American that beat him early in the season at the Midwest Classic this past weekend. He was able to pull off the win there. Really did a good job of fixing things that we've been doing the last couple of weeks to try to make sure he closes the gap on that opponent. And he has a couple other opponents that he wrestled that really dominated him early in the year, and he was able to again close the gap on those guys, which it brings us pleasure to see that he's listening. He's only a sophomore. He's a guy that we think can really make some improvements going towards the postseason. Josh Brown is another guy. This is really his first full season with us, competing from start to obviously to this point. So he's continuing to make improvement. We just gotta, continue to face a couple of things that like him being ready to wrestle when the match starts instead of realizing that he's in a wrestling match 2 minutes in and he's down by 6 points. So if he can fix those things, I think we got a nice gym ahead of us. And then some of the young guys, Hayden Fry, who's also a sophomore, true sophomore. A couple years ago at this time he was in high school, so he didn't get a chance to redshirt or anything like that. And then when he's dealing with men, most guys at college wrestling are in that 49 to 65 pound weight class, and some of those guys are 22, 23 years old. So he's just a guy that forgets very quickly when bad things happen, and he braces the good things that happen and uses them to continue to make gains in his wrestling. So we're excited for those three kids. But in addition to Robert Shade and Mikey Thomas are some other guys that are doing a good job for us. Even though they're not seniors, they're definitely not young. But it brings us a lot of joy to see that those guys are leading our program. And then Dustin Smith, he's a true freshman, a guy that really was thrown in the fire as a true freshman because he just gave himself an opportunity to be the starter. So a true freshman that's doing great for us. Understands what the goals are, understands what his job is, and he does a good job to make sure he has his mindset right every day.
We talked a little bit about some of the veterans. We've really seen the emergence of a few of them, in particular All-American Blaze Shade, who's 30-3 on the mat this season, 13-2 record against Division II opponents this year. What improvements has Blaze made on the mat, and what is his potential heading into the postseason?
I think just on the mat, probably the biggest thing he's done is written his goals down and verbalized them to us as a staff, so we hold him accountable to them. So when he's in the room, he's constantly being reminded, hey, what are you working for? What are you working towards? So when he has an off day, we remind him that, hey, your opponent doesn't care how bad you feel. And I think he reminds himself, he reminds the teammate. He holds the teammates accountable, which if his teammates aren't doing their job, he's not going to be able to do his job at the top of his ability. So I think that's the biggest thing. He's taking a leadership role, and he calls guys out. And you need to have guys like that in program that's going to, I guess, forget friendship while they're in the room training, trying to accomplish their goals, so the other guys can do their job to help him get to his goals, which will help them as well and help our program. So that's one big thing I would say he's done on the mat to help him, be prepared for that postseason run and run in the national championship.
All right, thanks, Coach. Stay right where you are. We're going to talk to you more again, but it's time for us to take our first break. When we come back, more with O.T. Johnson. Stay tuned to the Black and Gold Report. Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report, a show all about UNC Pembroke athletics. I'm Cameron Songer, joined once again by UNCP wrestling head coach O.T. Johnson. Let's get right back into it. You've got a handful of wrestlers who could make a nice run over the last month of the season, including your heavyweight wrestler, Stuart Nadeau. He's 18-8 this season, been a pretty consistent performer for you at the medal stand. What is his confidence looking like coming down the home stretch, and what is his potential at making a run in the postseason?
Well, Stuart is a guy that obviously has finally adjusted to the heavyweight weight class. We had to feed him and feed him and feed him. He's finally up to 250 pounds solid now. We know there's still going to be some times there where he might drop down to about 248, 249, but that's okay. We're at the last stretch of the season where we're not going to be going as hard for as many days. So he's done a good job adjusting. I think one of the biggest problems Stuart had was, realizing that he has the potential and the ability to compete at not necessarily just heavyweight, but all the weight classes he's wrestled at throughout his college career from 84 all the way to heavyweight. And I think he's finally seeing that. I think this weekend cemented for him that, hey, he can compete with the best. Losing to, I think, the third-ranked kid in the country, a returning All-American by a point. So he now understands that if he goes out there and wrestles to his ability, he wrestles like a 97-pounder, quick, athletic guy, he can compete with everybody. And he's put himself on the podium at a lot of tournaments, and I think those placements at tournaments has really helped him, gain the confidence he needs going into the postseason here. So we're looking forward to some big things from him as a senior and as one of our captains on the team.
We talked about Blaze Shade, talked about Stuart Nadeau. Who are some of the other guys who might have the potential to make a trip to the medal stand at the region tournament later this month?
Well, we definitely feel like Brock Walker has done a good job. A guy that essentially graduated, turned his papers in to walk across the stage, and wasn't satisfied with the way his career was ending, and came back to really, right that wrong, I guess, for lack of a better term. And he's done a good job buying in. Didn't start off as great as he wanted to, but he's continued to make gains each week. And had another setback this weekend, but his confidence is back, knowing that it's not season ending. God has done a good job for us. A 5-year member of the program. Been consistent, not just on the mat, but in the classroom. Academic All-American, a guy that understands, what it's about, what being a student athlete is truly about. And Brock has been, an encourager for his teammates. Constantly reminding them, hey, you want to take advantage of this opportunity while you have it. And he's been a pleasant surprise this season to coach, and it's really been a joy to watch him go through this process. Another guy would be Mikey Thomas, again, another great student athlete, biology major, wants to be a dentist, a guy that had a 4.0 semester. So all the guys that are, are putting themselves in a position to, I guess, tutor the young guys are doing it not just on the mat, but in the classrooms as well, letting them know that, hey, you only get 24 hours. No, you don't get more, we don't get less. Everyone else as students have other things to do, so don't think of wrestling as your complete time. You got to be a complete student athlete, and I think when these guys are showing that, and we don't have to echo as coaches, it really helps. It makes our job easier to be able to work with them on the mat when we know that they're doing the classroom as well. Mike has done a good job of being a guy that's quick to forget when he loses, and a guy that likes to take advantage of the wins and enjoys them, for the time being, and uses them to improve upon the next competition, next practice, whatever it may be. So those two guys, I would say, are been the pleasant surprise for us as far as making gains, making improvement as the years have gone by, as this year has gone by and the season has gone by. So we're very excited to see how those guys are going to perform at the regional tournament. Definitely guys we feel like are going to get a podium, and then hopefully with the right type of performance and the right weekend, punch the tickets to the NCAA tournament.
You talk about the season kind of wearing on. 8 guys on your team have wrestled 20 or more matches this season. What types of things do you do as a coach to keep their mind fresh, and how much does fatigue and nagging injuries play into their performance down the home stretch?
Well, for some programs, they like to hold guys out to keep them fresh, I guess. But why did the guys come here? If we wanted to just save them, we would have put them in, I don't know, poker, so you can sit down and play your game. But this is wrestling. This is college athletics, and with the sport of wrestling, you need that experience. You need that mat time. You need those matches. And for our guys, be fortunate to have this many matches. Some of them, and Blaze has over 30-some matches. So it's really good for the guys to get their mind right, knowing that, hey, I can compete that long and with that many matches and still be fresh and ready mentally. I think mental preparation is probably the biggest thing. These guys have been there before. They've done this for a long time, and they understand what it takes to get to a grueling college season. The only person that you're really worried about not being able to handle that would be Dustin, being a true freshman. But the rest of the guys, they're ready. They've been through the grind in preseason. We've given them breaks when they needed breaks, and we just remind them that, hey, they're not the only one going through this. Every team across the country is going through the same grind, and it's just about the guys that can hold each other accountable and keep each other reminded about what we're going after. And we understand that it's not easy, and we got to do our jobs of making sure the practices are not constantly just bang, 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 bang. That there's a break in there. There's time to have fun in practice sometimes, and Rome wasn't built in a day, so we're not going to win the national championship, in February. We're going to do it in March, and making sure that we don't try to do everything at once. I think it's the biggest thing as far as coaching and making sure that we don't over-peak our guys too early.
All right, Coach, stay sitting right there. We need to take one more break here on the Black and Gold Report. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. I'm Cameron Songer. He's UNCP Wrestling head coach O.T. Johnson. Coach, every day is a recruiting day for you. So what should potential UNCP wrestlers be doing to get noticed by you and your staff?
Well, first of all, they need to be taking care of the academics. If we're looking at you, we know that you can wrestle, and we understand your ability to wrestle is not in question. I think one of the biggest questions we have with potential student athletes is the ability to get into college. And then obviously, you got to have good character. We're not just going to take your coaches or your parents' word for it. Those are people that you are going to obviously be your advocates. We're going to ask around your local community, your opponent's coaches, and just get the right question answered. If we don't get the right question answered, if we don't get the question answered we need to answer, we're probably going to back off a little bit. And those are huge. It's never going to be a perfect mix, but we'll do our best to try to make sure we learn more about the student, the athlete, and the person than the actual wrestler, so to speak. So that's probably the biggest thing I could give any potential student athletes, to make sure you can get into our school first and foremost, and be a good person.
Absolutely. UNCP Wrestling has brought home 3 individual national championships in the last 5 years. How does something like that help the recruiting process for you?
Well, it definitely doesn't hurt in any bit at all. I think it's a testament to our guys. The guys that have been in the program, your Mike Williams, your Daniel Owenby, your Joe Stooks, just to name a few from the past. Just let recruits know that this is a place you can come and get the job done. Obviously, both guys are graduating and going on to careers outside of wrestling. Obviously, Mike is working in management. Daniel is actually still in wrestling, coaching in college level. So Let the recruits know that if you come here, we're going to do everything we can to make sure you reach your full potential. It may not always be a national championship, but definitely do everything we can to make sure that if you have that ability, we're going to squeeze every ounce of talent out of you to get you on the top of that podium. And if you're a recruit, you want to win a national title, and you can work hard and give everything you have, this is the place to be.
Looking off the mat now, your team is very involved in community service, teams up with the American Red Cross to host a very successful blood drive. The Braves also made a couple trips to Pembroke Elementary to be involved with the Braves Buddies literacy program with the elementary school students there. How important is community service to the student-athlete experience, and what kind of pride do you get as a coach knowing that your team is so involved?
Well, I think community service is important, not just as a student-athlete, but just as a student. Wherever you go to college, or even an employee, wherever you go to college, wherever you're employed, it's huge to be able to give back to that local community. I think the blood drive is not only a community event, but it's a national event that everyone, if you have the opportunity to give, whether it's monetary, whether it's blood, use that ability that you've been afforded to serve others. Going to reading with the kids was a blast. It gives us a chance to go out there and watch those kids' faces light up. You talk about the Braves buddy over the break. Some of our guys went to Tango Elementary School where my daughter attends school. And knowing that, hey, these guys are here, these kids are looking up to these guys like they're gods. But I mean, they're just human beings, giving back to something else, and and you don't have to be a superstar, you don't have to be Magic Johnson, you don't have to be Michael Phelps. You just got to be you, and kids look up to older people, and for you to just come and give your time. We all have time, and we can give a little bit more than we realize, and it's for a good cause. It makes you feel good inside, no matter what anyone says. Some guys aren't as enthusiastic about it before we go there, but when we get there, their eyes light up, they feel good, they get their attention themselves. So it's good for the program, it's good for the university, it's good for the exposure, and it's good for the kids' experience. So we enjoy it. I enjoy it as a coach, and my staff enjoys it as well, and it brings good publicity to the university.
Coach, it's always a pleasure for you to join us, and it's been great. We look forward to talking to you again soon. That's head coach O.T. Johnson of UNCP Wrestling. We need to take one more break here on the Black and Gold Report, so stay tuned.